What you are about to hear is not a work of fiction. Every name, every date, every chilling detail is a matter of public record. This is the story of a boy who became a demon, a prisoner who became a legend, and a killer who found his voice on the very platform you are using right now. This is the story of Pedro Rodriguez Filho. Our story begins not in shadowy alleyways, but under the bright sun of Santa Rita do Sapucaí, Brazil. The year is 1968. Our subject is a 14-year-old boy named Pedro. To his neighbors, he was just a child. But behind those young eyes was a mind that did not feel, did not regret, did not fear. A psychopath was about to take his first step. The catalyst was an insult. Pedro's father, a security guard, was accused of stealing food from a school cafeteria. The town's deputy mayor, a man named Clodoaldo, demanded he be fired, and he was. For most teenagers, this would be a crushing disappointment. For Pedro, it was a death sentence. He did not rage, he planned. He tracked Deputy Mayor Clodoaldo down. Right in front of the town hall, in the light of day, the 14-year-old boy raised a shotgun. The first life was taken, but Pedro's fury was not sated. He was just warming up. He then hunted down the security guard he believed was the real thief. A second body on the ground. 2 murders, and the killer wasn't even old enough to drive. He vanished, fleeing to the city of Mogi das Cruzes, 3 hours away. There, a twisted fairy tale began. He met a woman, a local beauty. They moved in together. She became pregnant, but here is the first dark twist the history books often overlook. This woman was the widow of a powerful, deceased drug lord. And Pedro, the teenage fugitive, didn't just become her lover. He seamlessly inherited her dead husband's entire criminal empire. He was a natural. He began systematically executing his rivals. But the darkness he cultivated was about to consume his own life. One day, around 1970, while Pedro was away, rival gang members broke into his home. They didn't come for drugs or money. They came for his pregnant girlfriend. They executed her. When Pedro found her, something in him shattered. The man who felt no empathy was consumed by a single, all-powerful emotion: vengeance. He went on a rampage that would make the fictional Liam Neeson look tame. He tortured, he murdered, he left a trail of corpses across the state, all in a desperate search for a name. Finally, an informant whispered it. A local drug gang was responsible. The leader was celebrating. There was a wedding. Pedro and 4 of his men arrived, armed to the teeth. They didn't sneak in. They walked into the celebration and opened fire. The music was replaced by screams. The dance floor became a killing field. When the smoke cleared, 7 wedding guests were dead. 16 more were wounded. But the killing didn't stop. His own cousin was pregnant, abandoned by the father. The man had fled to Rio de Janeiro. Pedro asked the man's family where he was. Unbelievably, they told him. They gave him the exact address. Pedro traveled to Rio, found the man, relaxing in a hammock on a farm. No words were exchanged, just a hail of bullets. The deadbeat dad was dead. The years passed. It was 1973. Pedro was now 18. A veteran of dozens of murders, still a fugitive, and the police finally caught him. He was arrested, and in a display of cold-blooded pride, he immediately confessed to 10 murders. The sentence was 128 years in prison. Most would see this as the end. For Pedro, it was just a change of address. While being transported in a prison van, he was seated next to an inmate convicted of assaulting a woman. Pedro, the mass murderer, had a code. He hated those who harmed women. So, right there, in the back of a moving vehicle, he attacked the man and strangled him to death with his bare hands. Inside the walls, Pedro Rodriguez Filho became a myth. He continued his killing spree, but now with a purpose. He became the prison Dexter, mostly targeting other murderers, drug dealers, and child molesters. But his code was flexible. He once murdered his own cellmate for a crime we can all relate to, snoring too loudly. He even befriended another inmate, only to discover the man had killed his own sister. Despite their friendship, Pedro's code demanded justice. He acquired a knife, and in a grim act of ritualistic punishment, he beheaded his friend. But the most profound betrayal was yet to come. Pedro's own father, a violent man himself, got into an argument with Pedro's mother. He took a machete and killed her. Now both father and son were in the same prison. When Pedro heard the news, his decision was instant. He had to kill his father. He allegedly bribed guards to be let into his father's cell block, claiming he just wanted to talk. The guards, either corrupt or foolish, agreed. Pedro walked into his father's cell. He pulled out a shank, and he stabbed the man who gave him life, over and over again. But the horror didn't end with the murder. In an act of almost supernatural savagery, Pedro then cut out his father's heart, and according to multiple inmate and guard testimonies, he took a bite out of it. Now, here is the twist that will make you question the very fabric of justice. In Brazil, there was a maximum sentence law. No matter how many lives you took, no matter how many years you were sentenced to, you only had to serve a maximum of 30 years. So, in 2007, after 34 years inside, time added for the murders he committed in prison. Pedro Rodriguez Filho, a man convicted of 71 murders, walked out of prison a free man. He was 52 years old. He couldn't stay out of trouble. He was arrested again in 2011, but released once more in 2018. He was 64, and this is where the story becomes a modern-day nightmare. Pedro Rodriguez Filho became a YouTube star. He reinvented himself as a local legend, a folk hero who killed bad guys. He started a YouTube channel, vlogging about his life. He found religion and posted videos of his own baptism. He amassed over 400,000 followers on TikTok. He went on podcasts, gave interviews, and spoke openly about his past, urging others not to follow his path.
Vida, onde é que tu morava quando era criança? Como é que era a convivência por lá?
Eu fui nascido no estado de Minas Gerais. E fui criado no interior de Mogi das Cruzes, certo? E com meus pais era uma família humilde, simples, casinha de sapé, né? Casinha de sapé, né? Chão de terra, trabalhando na roça, né? Minha família foi simplesmente, nunca foi de classe alta, pura humildade, sempre foi.
He was a content creator, an influencer, a murderer with a platform. But the past is a ghost that never rests. On the morning of June 5th, 2023, Pedro was sitting on the porch of a relative's house. A black car pulled up. Two masked men got out. They opened fire, 4 shots. Then, to make absolutely sure, they walked over and finished the job with a knife. The man who had cheated death and dealt it so many times was finally gone. The police never found his killers. The case remains open. Was it a rival from decades past? The child of a victim? A former accomplice? We may never know. The story of Pedro Rodriguez Filho is a terrifying reminder that true evil is not a monster in a storybook. It can be a 14-year-old boy with a shotgun. It can be a friendly-faced old man on your YouTube feed. And it never, ever truly goes away.